I decided to use Google Images to look for goddesses because I had this really strong feeling to do a goddess painting again. So that's when I discovered Ashera, and it said Hebrew Goddess, and I never knew there was a Hebrew Goddess. So I got very interested in Ashera, so I began to do a lot of research and reading, and I got very excited by her. And obviously there was a kind of an idea in the religion to censor her or not have her around because of the patriarchy in the religion. So being the way I am, being an agnostic, and really always liking the goddesses, I decided to do a project about Ashera. Here is the original icon that I started with, and that icon impressed me so much that I made this drawing. And you know what? After I finished, I said, that's enough. I saw that I could actually do that. So I wanted to kind of get away from that, free myself, and so I made this drawing. And I said to myself, well, this is more me. This is not the ancient one that I'm trying to copy. I want to do it from my point of view, my interior, So this actually freed me up to go further in my own direction. My first Ashera was done at the end of 2023. I just did a goddess figure in plasticine. So then I did a paper mache on top of the plasticine. It was a lot of fun, and it was like a cartoon, but I wanted to do something beyond that. So this is Ashera, the Ashera pole, and according to what I read, a lot of people like to have her on a pole, and she was actually near a big temple, and then the clergy and the rulers didn't like that, and they burned her down because she was, a goddess. She was effeminate and made them nervous. This figure is made with Sculpey, which is stuff you can get at the art store, and it's a lot like the kind of clay that kids play with, and do things. And I always loved to do that when I was a kid, to work with that kind of the clay. And I started working with it, and I made that figure, and I also made this figure here with Sculpey of Ashera in the trees. It's the surface of the tree that Ashera is in. It's made out of celluclay, and it doesn't dry right away. So the best thing to do is just take it out in the sun when it dries out, and it's ready to prime. Bigger ground is kind of a visual way of working, painting, and drawing. You got a figure here and the ground behind it. But the ground is as important as the figure. It makes the figure. They're like figures, but their arms go all over the place, their arms and their legs. They are really a being. The sky always shows through trees, the background. it wasn't always painting. I mean, I started painting when I was 15, and then I stopped. I would stop, and you know, I studied sculpture, I studied printmaking, and I just realized I had a natural feel for painting. That's what I really wanted to do, and so that's what I started doing. I think it gave me a purpose in my life. A lot of people don't have a purpose in their life, and they have a hard time of it. I feel fortunate that I have a purpose. About 1964, when I first went to San Francisco State, I met this guy that he was a professor of anthropology at SF State, and his deal was to go down to Australia and work with the Aborigine artists. So he had shown me these colored drawings. Basically, they were watercolors, but. And I saw how they used dots, and that, you know, at that time I didn't think that I would copy them or anything like that. It just went inside me, and then when I started seriously painting in 1967, it just came out to do that, to do dots, and so I've been doing it ever since, off and on. And as I go into it, it tells me what I should do next. And it's very funny because it's like something very private between me and this object that I'm working on, trying to bring alive, you know. So, and it's sort of a form of meditation, really meditating on the object that I'm working on, and as I say, having it talk to me. I went to India twice. I was my late wife, and I saw a lot of artists. I met a lot of artists. I saw what they were doing, and I really didn't think it was going to affect me like it has. And this kind of way of working, you know, is really a kind of folk art. The way I saw lots of folk art. I absorbed it, like I absorbed dots, and then it starts coming out later. Over and over, it showed me again, you don't have to be a realist. You don't have to make everything lifelike. As long as you do it with conviction, it'll be okay, you know. We're doing Bob Ross now. He was a very traditional, conservative kind of painter. And we used to just like look at his show and laugh and have fun. You know, it was kind of like, he was like the Lawrence Welk of painting, you know. Tony Bennett said, you know, you can learn a lot about life if you live long enough. You know, so I had this friend, a great painter that no one will ever know about, named Phil Bird, and so I said, there was this teacher at City College, at San Francisco State, named Alexander Napodi. I asked Phil, I said, well, what did you get from working with Napodi? And he said, clean your brushes. He told me to clean your brushes. And he was right. You should always clean your brushes. Because if you don't, they'll get bad and you'll have to buy more brushes. All right, that's it. Because I had no idea how I was going to do this. And that's one of my things about my process. I often start with one idea and then it just becomes another idea as I go through it. And often while I'm doing it, it will tell me, it will bounce back somehow. It gets into my mind to tell me what's the next step. She'd say thank you for remembering me and bringing me forth.